Welcome back, everybody. We still doing the do. Thanks for hanging with us. So I'm getting ready to flip it, and I know everybody knows this artist, and
Flip it
yeah,
every time.
and I know that everyone's gonna say, "Okay, yeah, he knows this guy. He's did this." Wait, this is one person that I've never really met, but I did get a chance to yell at him when he was leaving a show one night in San Francisco after a Cat rehearsal. I did say, "Hey man, where's the after party?" And he just looked at me like I was a fool. But anyway, yeah, we're talking about Prince Rogers Nelson. Unfortunately, he passed on April 21st, 2016. But it's so many things in the vault. It's so many people connected, and just man, I was lucky enough to make a pilgrimage out to Minnesota to go to Paisley Park. That place is just it's crazy. It's to see where that cat was doing this thing and making all this music that's going to be around for many, many years to come. But I'm going to play something that's a little different. Is that all right, man? I'm gonna play something from a song, and when you hear the notes that are played, you're gonna be like, really? He put that in a song? Once you rolling so tough, I think you could play anything. I think
Yeah,
you
you
can
can do
play
so.
anything
You could
and
do you could say or do anything at some point.
at some point, and people will embrace it. So here we go.
Oh, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts.
What is that?
Oh, that's the part where he going. That was my favorite part too.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, that was Prince Rogers
That was
Nelson.
Ragtime Prince.
Yeah, man. But it's a part of that song that I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna loop it for a minute, and we can talk a little bit more over it. That just it turned me out when it comes to hearing how simple, like I was saying with Devo, something can be, but at the same time, ever so funky. Kind of reminded me of Killing Joke a little bit, man, because I dug those bass lines that you threw at us earlier. So this is on the guitar though. So let's see if I can get this going right.
We got the 12-inch version. What drum machine is that?
That is the Lin drum, brother.
With the rim shot from the Lin drum.
That is the Lin drum. That right there. They call it percussions. I mean, it's just got 1,000 tracks on this thing, and once again, these aren't the stems. These are the actual. Don't even ask me how I got it. These are the actual tracks.
I'm not going to ask you where you got it. The state might, but I won't.
Check out the strumming. Talking about some rhythm, man. Yeah. So yeah, man. First concert I went to was the Controversy tour back in 1982. Tickets were very affordable over at I want to say the Bill Graham Auditorium. Then the 1999 tour, that was at the Coliseum,
Yes,
and
that
he
was.
had like three shows there. Went to one of those. Um, was lucky enough to get on the floor. I think I was working at Leopold Records back then. Then that movie
Leopold.
came out, and then I
Purple
was
Rain.
barely able to afford the Purple Rain tour tickets. That's when we kind of saw an increase of star ability. Then he did something years later at the Staples Center, and it was a live broadcast at movie theaters. Do you remember that, Tom?
No, which one?
It was
What was it for Under the Cherry Moon?
no. This was for hold on. It was for was it this one?
What year was
No,
this?
I think I got my notes down there. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that as the I don't know. I don't remember. But it was
That's
something
the
where
mystery show.
what they gave you a free copy of the musicology. It was musicology. There you go. Sorry about that.
Musicology. Okay.
Yeah. And they gave you a free CD along
Hmm.
with your purchase of the ticket to go see him in the movie theater performing live at the Staples Center in LA.
Right.
Man, and
So that's it. So that's if you couldn't make it to the Staples Center, you can go to a theater and watch the concert
you go to the
and get a CD.
and get to see, and that was game because that made that album certified gold. It wasn't based on sales, it was actually how many units were moved. That man was so far
That
ahead
shit
of the
went
game.
platinum.
Yeah, that man was so far ahead of the game. It was just ridiculous on owning your masters, getting the rights to all of your songs. You know, he always said if you don't own your masters are on you. I believe
Yep.
in that to this very day. So,
Exactly.
um,
That's why they call them masters.
yeah, man. So yeah, this is my number two in my list of groups. So yeah.
You got one more after this one though, right?
Yeah, I thought I had one more, and looks like I'm doing them out of order. So, because this was number two before we got to number one, so I'm gonna have to boomerang back to number three, and then I'll be done. And
Okay.
with that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back over to you, my man. All right.
Sounds cool. I mean, but you know what though? I can't just cut off Prince vibe.
Oh well,
Because,
come on. Well, come on with some Prince thing,
that
then, man.
you mentioned the Purple Rain tour, man.
Mm-hmm.
And working at Record Factory, I was able to get me some tickets on the floor.
Okay.
In Section D at the Cow Palace when he Purple Rain tour.
Mm.
And oh man, I don't all I remember of the concert was women screaming and and something with him on stage. Uh, I don't even know a song, but he was in a bathtub, like high up somewhere or
Mm-hmm.
something. But it was so much screaming going on, dude. I couldn't even enjoy the concert.
Yeah, and
I
after
mean, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
um, and the person I took, man, I'm not gonna say names, but um, I went with my brother and his homeboy and a friend of mine, and she was a big Prince fan, so I had to let her know that I got an extra ticket. Let's go. Man, do you know right when we got to her house to pick her up, it started raining, kind of drizzling, right? And then when we got back in the car, I went, got her, got back in the car, and then we was on the way to concert. And she wanted to see the ticket. And I said, all right, yeah. So I was looking for the ticket, and I was like, oh no. Uh I I thought I had it. It was in my, my shirt pocket like this. And I told my brother, I said, man, we have to go back because I had the tickets. And she
Dang.
was just kind of like, oh my God. So we went back, man, and guess where the tickets were?
In your
The
pocket.
tickets, no, the ticket was right where we had parked the car, but it was in in the like where the street meets the curb before the curb goes up to
Oh,
the
that fell
sidewalk.
out your pocket. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and it was right there,
still in
sitting
place.
in sitting in the rain.
Yeah, purple rain, baby. There it is.
Exactly.
There
So,
it is.
and I still got the ticket stub, and you can see the little water damage on it.
Hey, you lucky if they
And
let
so,
you in with those tickets if they got
well,
too messed up,
they
right?
dried up.
Oh,
So, but dude, when I got the envelope, she grabbed it. She says, "Let me hold on to those now."
yeah,
All right. So
yeah,
yeah, that was my little Purple Rain thing. But uh, you met him once, right?
yeah. And well,
Yeah,
if you
I
call it that.
I met him once, but I don't think you'd call it was meeting.
Hmm.
But uh, he did a show at the Fillmore with the Third Eye Girl, and I was spinning at the Boom Boom Room. It was on a Wednesday night, so it wasn't really one of them nights was a lot of people, but he ended up coming to the Boom Boom Room after the show, and
The boom boom
and I
room.
was
Hot
yeah, and I was
dog.
spinning, and he had sent two of his people to come in and scout the place out and all that, and that. And the manager came up to me and said, "Yeah, well, I'll introduce you to blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" He said, "Yeah, well, do you have any Sly Stone?" I said, "Yeah, I just happen to have some tonight." He said, "You got any James Brown?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What about P Funk?" I said, "Yeah." And then he turned around, looked at the manager, and said, "Yeah, yeah, we good, like that." And we was just kind of like, well, "What was that about?" So we get a call back that yeah, Prince wants to come and unwind after the show.
Mm,
He's looking for somewhere to do that. So long story short, he comes over after their thing's over with a police escort
mm, crazy.
from the Fillmore to the Boomer Room. It's just across the street.
Wait a minute. He could have just skipped from one spot to the other. That's how
Gotta
close
walk
those
them.
two are. Come on, man.
Man, they had the police, the motorcycles escort him over in that black SUV he was in.
Hmm.
And I'm spinning, I'm DJing. I ain't, I'm not believing he coming. The whole night I'm going like, they're not coming, they're not coming. They ain't coming. Prince coming in here. Come on, man. But we got that last call. Yeah, he's coming. And they want everybody, the only people they want inside is the employees.
Everybody out.
Yeah,
Everybody
everybody else, all the
get out.
customers, they gotta go. But the
Get.
band that was playing, they can be there, and the employees, that's it.
Oh, shit.
And no smoking.
Mm.
So
No,
it's like
imagine that at the Boom Boom Room. There was nothing but smoke in that room, man. They
I
had to.
had to
They
go.
probably had to open up every window and
Yeah,
spot that you could
they
find.
put
Bring
that
out some
big fan.
fans. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they had to air that puppy out. So I was like, dang.
Oh
And
boy.
of course, I wanted to get my last toke in outside. But so yeah, they show up. The Third Eye Girl band, they come in first, and
Hmm.
whatever I was playing, they kind of coming in dancing to it, right? So they end up going to the front of the stage, and then I was just kind of like I kept looking out the window behind where I was DJing, and I was just wondering, was he getting out of the SUV? Is he coming in or what? And then eventually I started talking loud. I was like, Hakeem, the doorman. I said, man, is he coming in here or what? Man, what's he doing? Why are he taking so long? Because I'm trying to save the slide, but I'm running out of songs, man. When he coming in here? And he said, Chaos, man, he already in here. And I was like, oh
Messed
man.
you up.
I said he probably heard me too, because I said, well, where is he? He said, oh, he's over here behind the soundboard on the left side. So he was basically where I'm on the right side of the soundboard. He was on the other side. As you come in the
Oh
door,
man.
the right side is where I'm DJing, and the left side is where the soundboard is. So I said, oh, I know he heard me. So I walked over there, kind of looking at just going like, damn, all right, I'm just gonna be quiet. And I don't know, man. It was the rest of the night was a blur. Um, After the night was over, we all reminiscing about what was going on. He stayed there from like 2:30 to about like almost 5 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
So when he left, we was all like giddy. We was all just like tripping. Everybody was exchanging their interaction with him tonight. And I'm sitting over there going like, oh, I ain't even get to say hi to him or nothing. It's all, oh, well, don't worry about it, man, because he he was checking you out. Don't worry about it. And I was like, yeah, but how come nobody's? He said, man, you didn't see him sitting at the bar just watching you. I said, nah. He said, he sat right here. I said, that close, and he's like, yeah, he was right here, just looking at you. He was watching you. I said, oh, nah, I didn't. Why? How come nobody told? Well, you was in a zone, man, and whatever you was playing, everybody was moving, so you was in your zone. Wasn't nobody gonna bother you. And I was just like, come on, man, that's Prince. Y'all should have bothered me. You should have let me know. So that was just a fluke night, man. It was a trip,
Oh man, that
and
was cool,
so
man.
I
That
never got the
was
meeting, but
you interacted. You did the interaction with them.
but I didn't know.
That's all right, man.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just
Hey,
like, wow,
that's a beautiful story, man. You know what we need to do? We need to take another break, and we'll be right
we'll be
back
right back
after this.
after these messages.
We're back. All right, brother K, bring us on around to what you getting ready to throw down.
Okay, my next one is it's too it's I don't know. There's so many that I want to get to, but I'm gonna break this one down like this.
Okie dokie. Uh-huh.
Burning Spear, one of my favorites, and he has this
Mm.
with Marcus Garvey on it, and Volume Two. So
Okay.
what I'm getting at is this was the one
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
that really did it for me.
Raiders of the Lost Dub.
Yeah, that one and these two guys, Math Professor.
Mm.
He had the Dub Me Crazy series. And as you can see, this is all engineer based.
Mm.
The you know the, this is showcasing the engineer, not the musicians.
I
Well,
see.
actually the band.
No, that's
And then
cool.
this was a good one too. Scientist encounters Pac-Man. And
Okay.
yeah, and then that one got they had some legal issues like we will talk about in some other shows with this guy Linville Thompson. So when they reissued this, Linville Thompson put his name
Oh
on
man.
it as he presents it, and you notice the guy getting eaten up by the Pac-Man has dreads instead of the bald head scientist. So
Ah,
there was a issue with
well.
scientists doing all these dub mixes and the studio putting them out without him knowing.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
but anyway, uh, this album here is what got me and showcasing the band for all the reggae artists. This band called the Roots Radics.
Mm.
Roots Radics. Um, so that is more of a genre that has influenced me,
Got you.
not just one artist. And this was like when I was testing the waters of the roster,
Mhm.
before right when I was at the stage of like, should I dread or should I not? Should I dread or should I not? And a lot of things I was going through, and then I finally dreaded. But before that, I had a lot of influence, of course, Bob Marley and Burning Spear, but when I started learning more about it, it was pretty much no disrespect to Bob Marley, but he was more mainstream reggae artist, and they were more what they call roots artists. Uh, you know, Bob Marley was more embraced, put it that way, than a lot of the other artists that were in the same situation as Bob. So, um, and then there was Lee Scratch Perry, another legend, uh, who was known for, I guess, starting reggae music. But that's long. That's some other stuff. But getting back to this one, yeah, that one there. Uh, give you a little taste of that one. And why it got me because I had heard a lot of the songs with the original artist singing on them.
Hmm.
But um, an engineer, by the way, had hit me on to dub, and when we would go edit our shows that I was in this youth news program where we learned how to, we were learning how to become yes, it was in journalism. So we was learning how to write our own stories and whatnot. And we learned how to edit our stories and all of that. So we had to go out and get the story, edit the story, and speak, write it out, and be the anchor for the story. So I learned a lot. I learned how to go out in the field and record, learn how to uh, record the interviews, edit the interviews, and master all of the everybody's interviews into one show. So that's where I got hipped on to this album. The engineer she was playing is while there was some break while we were breaking stuff. I'm in high school and I'm watching them. They puffing right. And nobody said or offered it to me. They just kind of subtly gave me that look like, well, if you're gonna hit that, it's fine with us. So they didn't know that I indulged when I was in high school. So I did, and I assured them that, I'm not gonna tell on them. So, but once I indulged, man, it was like that. The music just broadened. It became more ambient. That's another show. So, but yeah. So, and she was playing this whole album. So by the time this one came on, I was like, I was just hearing, and so she kind of showed me how what they were doing and how they would cut the vocals out, add echo to them, bring that track up. Once the echo hits, bring the track down, but the echo on another track still has it going. And you showcasing the band and what they were doing, messing around with the vocals, giving the snare extra pop, all that stuff. So yeah, so that's what got me sold and hooked on dub music. And so and then eventually I found uh I found that the other artists had dub versions coming out. And then that Scientist with Pac-Man, that's another one that blew me away. So uh yeah, that whole genre, man, and it brought along, I know you're familiar with the music genre drum and bass,
Hmm.
where it's like they're pretty much that fast. They speed up the beat and have deep bass lines, but I don't know what drum and bass fans or artists or musicians in that genre. I'm sure they know, but and we can all fight about this, but drum and bass came from that reggae dub genre because that's what it was called, drum and bass. Reggae music was heavy on the drum and the bass, and the dub music had brought that out. So
Mm.
that was the influence in my opinion. That's what inspired the drum and bass genre. Whether they know it or not, do y'all research and you'll see that it came out of the reggae dub um, situations, put it that way. But that was heavy on my influence too.
Right on, man.
And that's
Yeah.
pretty much why I'm more instrumental than vocal
Mm.
because and then like sampling. When I sample stuff, I know you notice that I don't leave any space for a rapper to rap for anybody to do any vocals. I fill in all the, with
Sometimes you
vocal.
leave a little space, man, when it's requested, right? Come on
Yeah,
now.
when it's requested,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
reluctantly.
yeah.
But I like to tell a story with that. So
Right.
that's pretty
No,
much
that's
where
cool, man.
all it came from. So
Oh, right on, dude. Right on with that. You know, I've always wondered with the name Dub, because for a minute there, I got into something called dub step. Do you remember that? Like
yep,
Skrillex and all of those
yep.
cats that, and
Which came out of the drum and
talking about
bass.
it, right? So yeah, it's all kind of related, man. Going you taking it all the way back to the one, which is cool, and that's what this show is all
Exactly.
about, man. We gonna bring it all out and give you our
Yeah.
versions of what we see, where things originate from, come from, and where they end up. So yeah,
Yeah, because it comes from dub, like overdubbing
mm.
and all that. When
So yeah,
you're doing something over top of something else. But
and
the
then
dub
also
aspect,
the heavy end of it too, though, right? The
yeah,
drum and the bass. I mean,
drum and the
those,
bass, the
yeah.
foundation of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, the reggae artist was heavy on the drum and really heavy on the bass. Because what I learned through Rasta was that the bass represents the destruction of the evil, and the high frequencies represent the high and the mid frequencies represents the resurrection of what was destroyed. So that's why that boom, it creates that vibration to bring all the evilness down. And if you notice, when you're around certain demons, they don't like to hear that boom. They don't like that vibration. But I digress. That's another show.
All right, man. Well, hey, well, thank you for sharing, brother. I mean, you shine the light where the light has never shined before, right? So we're gonna keep it moving. Hey, man, I got something that is totally different from what we just went through right there, and that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Let me do a little something,
What you got
something.
for us, man?
Man,
I know it's good. I
it's
already know.
it's all right. It, well,
Nah,
it's all
watch
right.
watch this, y'all. Watch what he do.
It's, most of y'all will not relate to this, so that, and I'm
Yo,
cool with that, man, because
watch. He gonna hit y'all with something. Watch.
yeah, okay, okay. Do 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 do. You didn't see that coming, did you? Oh yeah,
Uh
man.
oh. I'm not gonna.
Wait a minute. I'm telling you, it was something
I was gonna
about
do the bass line, but I'm gonna wait.
yeah, it was something about the intro of this track to this very day. It's just it reminds me of a movie getting ready to start, and also it's just an anticipation of what it's about to dive into. So, and like I
I
said,
know.
this was my introduction to this style of music. Um, I got a real late pass on this because I was reading some article about Prince, how he had been listening to all these artists from Europe and how they were really diving deep into the synthesizer. And using it for strings instead of your traditional strings, right? And I'm like, well, man, that's kind of late past because Bernie was using that ARP 2600 or using the Moog and doing all this other stuff, but these cats were using it more of a droning type sound to where it sounded like you was off far, far away. So anyway, look, there goes the car passing right now. So that's perfect. Without further ado, let's see what we got in here, man. Boo doo, ba doo, ba doo, boo doo doo doo, doo doo doo. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got. Let me see. Yeah, got it down nice and low so we don't get hit by the algorithm. And of course, I got that drum track that ain't in there playing because that'll really alert the sample troll. But yeah, man, Gary Numan. This came out originally in 1979, but yeah, I didn't get hip to it to almost 1984. So
Wow,
yeah, yeah,
man.
man, I had the real late pass going on, but started dissecting this thing, man, and this dude got the hand claps. He had the little bass repetitively going. It kind of reminded me of Super Freak a little bit. It's just playing it in the reverse form of it. But then this change came. I'm like, man, you tripping. And then he had the tambourine. Yeah, as you notice, I ain't letting him sing because I want to get this aired for y'all to trip on. So yeah, not gonna spend a lot of time on this one, but he has a lot of stuff. That entire album, The Pleasure Principle, which Janet Jackson borrowed a few years later. Um,
Oh, but Parlet did that also.
well, damn. Well, there we go. Okay. Um, yeah. Underrated dude, man. Kind of made a couple comebacks, but this particular track sold over 10 million copies, which is crazy. A lot of people still, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, man, a devoted follower of this cat, man. And there's some footage online with them doing this jam together. And Trent was just playing the tambourine, doing this thing. I was like, okay, that's bowing down, letting you know, man, I can be doing my wild stuff, but when it comes to this, how he's breaking it down, I'm gonna break it down too. So yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
just to make it official, Gary Newman's real name was Gary Anthony James Webb. How did he get?
Yeah, I would have shortened it to Newman too. Nah,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know
I
what
was
made
playing.
him call it Newman,
Shout
but
out to Gary Newman.
yeah, man, definitely a pioneer into the electronic music, man, using the Oberheims, and he used that Polymog synthesizer way back then too, man. Cause they had went in the studio a long time ago, like with this little punk band, and they was trying to come up with some stuff, and it was a Polymoog, allegedly a Polymoog, in the studio, and he just pressed a couple of notes on it and said, "Oh, we're changing our whole get down. We're doing
That
this."
must have been with the Two Boy Army.
Yeah, there you go. That was the name of the band. The Two Boy
Yeah.
Army. Yeah, yeah.
So you didn't catch him on Saturday Night Live either then.
Nah, I missed it.
When
Yeah.
he did the album before that one there's uh he had a cut called Praying to the Aliens.
Yes. See.
That album was kind of deep too. The album before that one.
Yeah.
That's when I was hipped on to him from
No.
Saturday Night,
Okay.
just like Devo.
Oh, okay. So
It
he
was
was
on that. It was that Saturday Night Live performance.
man, and I asked this question before. How do these cats get these unknown artists get? How were they getting on Saturday Night Live back then, man?
They were they were. they were starting to get popular, man, and Lauren Michaels wanted to, you know, when the time. I remember having this conversation with George about that when the sounds were changing
Hmm.
and disco was dying out because you remember what they did. That's we're gonna discuss that. Remember what they did with Parliament with
Hmm.
party people.
Oof.
Everybody got to do the disco,
Oof.
you know. Right. So so when the music started changing to like, the punk rock basically was the youth saying we tired of hearing the glam rock,
Right.
Poison, Van Halen, and all of that,
The
and Led
everything
Zeppelin, and
everything
all the
recorded
corporate,
perfectly. Yeah,
exactly what
that
y'all's
super
putting.
clean sound. It was over, man. It was
Yeah,
over for the
and
punks. It was over.
yeah, just like whatever y'all corporate mainstream is feeding us, we don't want that no more. So up from the underground, the punk, but then of course the machine says, okay, let's take the elements of punk that we can market,
Oh yeah.
call it new wave. So then you had this new wave of artists, and you had the Talking Heads, you had Gary Numan, you had Depeche Mode, you had all these different groups, and most of them were coming from England
Yeah. And
because what
yep.
England was doing, uh, uh, and it really shows in another one of my favorite artists, but we're not going to talk about that. But it's Sade is
Mm.
they had embraced everything we was doing over here, and a lot of the things that over here in America that we were like had already chewed up and spit out, they were like it was coming back via the UK. And you just seen how much American music wasn't appreciated. Like when people get tired of hearing certain stuff, they don't want to keep playing that. They want something new or whatever. But the UK sent that stuff all the way back, and then everybody started acting like it was new. And it's like, no, they're doing what they like about what they hearing out from here. So, Sade kind of brought that soul jazz back here.
Yeah,
Then,
Sade was your.
like,
I remember you used to jam some Sade when we worked in the music store together, man. You used to put that
uh,
on nonstop. Your love
yeah,
is king. I'm like, dog.
uh,
I was
I
like,
was in love.
I was like, Tone must have just started his shift. I was like, oh man, here we
That's
go.
when Tone was at work. You hear some Sade and some Patrice Russian. That's another
Uh,
one.
That's
Was
another one.
Patrice Russian.
Hey,
Like,
hey, baby. So I know you got one more to go. So I'm done with mine up until because we're gonna do a whole number one, all our favorite on another whole. We're gonna dedicate a full segment to them. Let me just back up to because we said something about party people. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this out. So when that came out, it came out as a single, right? And I bought the single. I played it about 3 or 4 times. I'm like, man, am I missing something? I felt lost and stuff. I was like, I know. I wait a minute, dude. I just had that look on my face. I was lost. I was like, wait a minute, no. And then when the album came out, I was like, okay, okay,
okay,
Glory
we're,
Hella
we're back.
Stupid. We're back. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, Glory Hella Stupid. I get it now. But man, I'm gonna say this. I will put party people up against any song that's out today that's supposed to be one of these hits on the radio. Because I can hear '08 Big Boogie. I can do I I could roll with that over what I'm hearing today on some of this stuff. So that I just wanted to clear that up for all the funk heads because that's what we're gonna be getting real deep and we just giving you a teaser of what's to come on that.
Well, party people was
See, you can't
P
even say
Funk's
it right.
answer to disco. You know,
Well, wait a minute.
and
Well,
and it was
what was it?
it had
Was
it
it?
took
Was
Huh?
it? Was it? See, this
Yeah, it was.
we got
Yeah,
to
it
wait a
was.
minute because they consider. Wait a minute, those rockers considered flashlight disco. They considered tear the roof off disco. So,
Anything that was played in the disco
right.
was considered
Oh, okay.
disco.
Okay.
But when
All
you
right.
had
Boom, boom, boom,
that
boom,
one
boom,
beat up and
boom.
down,
Down. It
it
just
just won't
won't
do it.
do.
We had that.
He even
After a
said it
while,
himself. Okay.
it gets repetitive. I mean,
Yeah.
same like it. I mean, it's cool because it gets people on the dance floor, but
Yeah, well, some
after a
people.
while, dude,
Yeah, you
it's
gotta
just
change it
steady
up.
pounding.
Yeah,
And
you got.
and it's and you know what the funny thing is, as far as DJing, that's the easiest thing to
Oh
mix
man, cause that beat
because
is it's
it's
the four on the floor beat, man. Come
yeah, and
on.
it's just boom, boom, boom. So you can just bring the next thing in, count one, two, three, four, boom, boom, boom. But if you got different polyrhythms or different
Oh
type
man,
of,
yeah, yeah. It's too much. Yeah.
let's not hit the sync button. Let's try to beat match
All right,
by
man.
listening to it.
All right,
But I digress.
yeah,
But
yeah,
party
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah. We gotta digress because
yeah,
we
party
gotta
people
keep
was
eye on the time because we need
their
to.
answer.
Yeah, that was their
Yeah,
answer, and you got one
that was
more,
the
right?
answer to disco.
Yeah.
Yeah, my next one is gonna be, and I know you gonna.
I might have something
Oh
to say.
man, I
I
bet
might
you
have
already seen it.
no, but I know what it's gonna be. I know who it is.
Yeah, I know you know.
Oh no, I did. Wait a minute. That was
Yeah,
they were gonna make my list, but I said no.
nah, they
Okay.
on everybody. Yeah, that
Ah.
was the first one that I got hipped on to
Oh man,
was
that one didn't have We Are the Robots
Autobahn.
on it,
When I
did
was
it?
there, Autobahn. No, this was Transfer Express.
The transfer,
First
yeah.
one I ever heard was Autobahn. I got the reissue on that is
Mm-hmm.
the Autobahn one. I heard
Kraftwerk.
that on some
Yes. Yes.
radio station when I used to have a little one speaker radio. Uh, and I'd sit it on the windowsill and go to sleep to music in the summertime, right? And I heard they would play like a lot of ambient stuff, like Tangerine Dream, like from that movie Sorcerer. They would have play them and any kind of music that was kind of like what you was talking about, like with the drone
Mm-hmm.
and and when that Autobahn came on, it was like, well, wow. But then when I heard Trans Europe Express, it was like,
Trans.
and
Yeah. Express.
you know
Dude,
who that
what,
inspired? That
that,
inspired the whole
dude,
hip hop movement.
rock,
That's where hip
rock to
hop
the
and
planet
electro.
rock. I mean, come on, man. That
Yeah,
was Soul Sonic Force's that was their main instrument.
yep.
Come
Boom,
on, man.
boom. Oh no, that didn't come yet. But
Oh, okay.
and
So we're
then this
getting it.
one
Oh
here,
man.
that was the one there.
That's what We Are the Robots.
We are the robots. But what's
Doom,
that
doom,
one?
doom,
The
doom.
Man Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Dun, 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 dun. And you know that got sampled 13,000 times.
yeah. But the baby of it all was this one. This is what did it for everybody.
Mm,
And this
man.
one.
You know,
Each knee sun chi.
hold on. Hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on. Keep it moving. I'm listening. Coming
Oh,
right back.
boom, tap, boom, boom, tap, boom, 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 tap, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, y'all know that one. That's yeah. So that
Hey,
had everybody from oh man, especially the break. Yep, especially the break dancers.
hey,
The break dancers and the pop lockers. We see out here on the West Coast, they was pop locking.
it's funny. I don't have a whole bunch of my albums, but man, look at that. That's from Hawaii to California. We
Yep,
know.
man. And then if you can pick up the reissue, dude. The
Mm.
sound is cool.
Whoa, what is that
It's
like a
cool.
that looks like an import or something.
Yeah, it's colored vinyl. I got it
Yeah.
in there for a minute.
Yeah,
But
that's
this is
nice.
actually the German version where it says uh Kraftwerk Computerwelt.
Hmm.
So that's special edition.
Man,
I can't speak German, but
that's all
it
right.
has a German
But that's
letter. It's
that
in German.
that was the
Even
one,
the
man.
lyric, so yeah. Then by this time, when they came with
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one,
I got that
yeah.
one too. And I kind of forced myself to like that one almost, man.
But it was
Right?
to
I
me
mean,
that was more experimental because they got into when they was sampling that telephone stuff
yeah,
on telephone. Yeah, that was like, and then that see all it's gonna do is bring me to the art of noise because we're gonna have to do a whole
right.
show on the samplings.
But staying with Kraftwerk, they with that hit with numbers hit, man. It was like you talking about making something funky, simple, funky. I mean, they took it to that level of like
Yep.
one, two, three, four. Uno, dos,
Duo,
tres,
tres,
cuatro.
cuatro.
I mean,
Each ni son ti. Uno, duo,
dos.
tres,
See,
cuatro.
so man, and that's what I'm saying. Everything ain't
Mm-hmm.
gotta be complicated. And don't get us wrong. We like, man, I love me some Stanley Clark. I don't know. I wanted to put him on the list, but then that he deserves another whole thing. And
The whole
it,
show,
it,
yeah.
it, it's so many other artists that are just they're beyond artists. They're out there
Yeah,
with the masters. These cats, they were most of what we've covered so far have been the bands or people who actually kind of changed the sound of the direction of that whichever direction music was going. Either they was coming out of the 70s into the 80s or the 80s holding on to some stuff from the 70s. I mean, or either morphing into something bigger than life, right? So,
right.
um, man, I can't wait for number 7 when we do. And if y'all ain't figured it out by now, that's gonna be our top of the top. It's gonna be I was gonna make that my number 9 and number 10, but we gonna roll it all into one. That's gonna be the whole Parliament Funkadelic experience, man. Cause
Yeah.
it's a
That's
lot. It deserves its own get down, and
and
we
and and even that one show not gonna be enough. We all
yeah we
already know
already
that.
know, but we
But
gonna
we gonna
we gonna do
yeah,
our duty to
we're
make
just
sure
gonna
you
do a
understand.
deep dive.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna be not just knee deep in that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Y'all may even hear some stuff that only we have. So,
Might pull out one of them songs that didn't make it to R&B skeleton.
man,
Oh,
see, you,
oh,
we got decades of
oh.
this stuff, y'all. And when we say decades, we ain't just talking about just hanging out and taking a picture. We
No,
talking
we
about
talking about from fandom from when we first were introduced to them in our respective years. When and me and Phil first got blah 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 to the time when we actually start working with them.
yeah. So it's gonna be
So
fun,
we
y'all.
gonna cover
It's gonna be fun. I hope
three.
y'all stayed to the end of this because this was definitely a long ride, and man, hopefully you got something out of it. Um, we had to take a couple of breaks here and there, and man, as they've said in the breaks, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notify,
Hit
and
the
we're
share button.
wrong. Let's get that algorithm interested in what we're doing. If you're interested in it, we're gonna get them the YouTube algorithm rolling with us, and we're gonna make this thing grow, y'all. So until next week, you got anything else you
Before
want
we
to throw in
cut,
there?
yeah, I was gonna give a few shout outs to
Oh
people.
man, go right ahead.
I'll give a shout out to Dr. Ricky Vincent,
Oh yeah,
Professor,
the professor,
Professor Ricky Vincent.
the Huru maggot.
Shout out to him. I'll give a shout out to Last Will on KALX.
Yeah,
I'll give a
man.
shout
What's up,
out to
Will?
Phil Colley.
That's my brother from another mother right there.
Give a
That's
shout
right.
out to Joe Keys.
All
I'll
right,
give a
Joe.
shout out to Funkster Jones,
You better know it. You better
uh,
know it, man.
DJ Gonzilla,
That's
and
right.
all the P Funk
What's up,
Radio
Gabe?
fam.
Hey,
And I
man.
want to give a shout out to Scott Goldfine with his series
Oh yeah, his stuff
and the
is tight.
things he's doing.
Yeah, yeah. Check them out, man, because it's we all connected. Everybody's doing this thing now, and that's what's so cool. Everybody's
Yeah.
doing it and they're getting down, man. Let me give a shout out from way overseas, and you know he goes by the name of Stephen Motherfunkin.
Motherfucker.
That dude, man. Y'all know I don't mess with that Facebook, but he messes with it for me. So thank
Yeah.
y'all. Thank y'all for the support and
Yeah. Shout out
thank
to
you.
Stephanie.
Thank you, man. So with that,
Oh,
man,
Zoozilla.
oh man, what you know, Zeus, brother, man,
Stay angry.
You know, we gonna get you up on here, man, so we can do a whole episode with just you, man. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, man. All right, y'all. Other than that, we gonna say keep it going, keep it coming. Trying to get my balloons popping, but they ain't popping today. So, you know, maybe next time I have my balloons for y'all. All right. Later.
Okay. Bye.